What's good guys, Zennosh here, and today in this video of the Calibria Crystal Guardians, I'm presenting to you guys a guide on Dragoon. He is a 5-star net hero unit who is so amazing. He has really good set of skills that can really allow him to be a very good unit indeed in the game of the Calibria. So let's discuss about him right away, about his rune build and obviously his skill description. So before starting this video, please do subscribe to my channel, and guys, you can check out in the description section below for the additional information, especially the timestamps, to have the quicker access to this video. Alright, so now let's get this started. First of all, looking forward into his stats, you can see right over here that his defense is pretty high. That is 3953. That's pretty good. Speed is pretty mediocre. Attack is like 664. That's great. And HP is really good as well. So now let's get into the skill tree. He's a def-based unit, meaning like he will sort of like scale his damage based on his defense stats. And usually def type units also really do have good provoke and taunt skills. But let's see what he actually can provide on the table. So right over here, guys, Dragoon Spear. Attack an enemy 3 times. That's really great. If you actually attack an enemy or opponent like multiple times, there is a really high chance for you to actually land any sort of debuff or negative status effect that is combined with it. Alright, each attack deals 65% of attack and defense in damage. After attacking, dispel one of the target's buff. The thing is that like after the attacking, he will dispel the target's buff, and thing is that he has like 100% chance to do that, so that's pretty awesome. All right, I'm like being able to dispel the target buff can actually be very helpful in certain cases, especially in the boss battles where the boss can actually be wreaking havoc on you, provided that they have very good buffs on them, like defense up buff, attack up buff, self regen, or even invincibility. Right, that can be really problematic. And having a Dragoon in your team can be very beneficial indeed. Now let's move on to the next one. That is going to be the Dragon Breath. This one is really awesome. It's an AoE skill, alright? And it attacks 5 times. 5 times. Just look at it. Just by the looks of it, you can easily say that like you can easily equip him the Desperation runes. Just look at that. For 5 times AoE attack, he is gonna have a really good time in stunning the enemies with this skill. This is too good. Its sword deals 30% of attack and defense in damage, a total of 150%. That's really low. And has a 10% chance to stun the enemies for 1 turn. Well, 10% doesn't really look that great, but combine it with like 5 times, it can actually mean a lot. If enemies are not stunned at the end of the attack turn, 100% chance, right? No, 80% chance. Sorry about that one. I thought there is gonna be like some sort of like skill up. 80% chance to taunt the target for 1 turn, which is pretty okay as well. If you cannot stun, at least you can taunt. All right, and provided that you have Desperation runes, this can even be better. Being able to like stun the opponents at AoE scale for like at a time, hitting them like 5 times in a row. Wow, there's a really high chance that like you can really stun the opponents. So Desperation runes really can do wonders with him. This is too good. And also with the Desperation runes, you can also reduce the energy of the opponents, right? So obviously he's gonna have easier time in having a superior advantage, especially in the arena contents. All right, whereas for the dungeons, it might have a little bit limited viability. Now let's move on to the next one. That is the duel. Select an enemy to duel. So you can really select whom to actually target. That is really great, especially if there might be a troublemaker in your opponent's team. Then you can just like sort of like engage with that particular opponent. And what's gonna happen is that like while dueling, both self and enemy target may not be controlled, so they go into like an uncontrollable rage until one dies. All right, the duel status ends when one of the duelists is killed. After duel status is activated, attack immediately with the Dragon Spear. This is really good. I mean, like especially if you really want to sort of like get that particular opponent engaged, especially maybe the boss. Okay, you really don't want that boss or maybe like any other opponents to actually target your squishy like players, or let's say allies, then at that time you can just use a duel. It can actually save your entire team in certain situations where like the trickery of the opponent could actually annihilate you. All right, so this is pretty good. Depending on the situation, this can actually be a very lifesaver, and it only has a 3 turn of cooldown. That is really good, provided that like you have a very high amount of defense and HP embedded on him, or meaning like like given to him, then he can actually really do duel really nicely. This is pretty good, and I believe that it can also go with the boss. What do you guys think about it? Do you guys have any sort of like data on that one? If not, then that's gonna be a bit problematic in the catacombs. If it can do with the boss, then that's really good. I'm not actually pretty much sure about that. Can it really duel the boss? Anyways, let's move on to the next one. That is passive Guardian Hurt. All right, when own HP exceeds 50%, grants 10% of HP. If you actually skill enhance it up, it can provide up to like 12% of HP recovery to the ally with the lowest percent HP when attacked. If own HP is less than 50%, recover 10% of own HP when attacked. So it might actually be like pretty okay, but it only is a single target healing. So I really don't think that it can have a very good effect. And only like 12% of HP, like recovery. I really don't think that it is like that pretty great. The next one is gonna be another passive, Royal Offense. When being hit by a critical strike, recover 10% of own HP. All right, so that is like a little bit situational, and 20% chance to counter the target. All right, so like okay, I mean like the chances are not really that good. The HP recovery is not really that great as well, and it's a pretty much of a solo type. It's not a sort of like like a AoE type, so not really that great, not really that great. The next one is pretty better. I think this is the best third skill, version number 3. All right, passive Knight's Glory. It says reduce damage taken by 20%. All right, and when allies are attacked, 20% chance to counter the attacker, and if you improve it, it is a 30% chance to counter the attacker, which is going to be quite good, provided that his first skill has a debuff, like removal, or let's say like a dispel, effect on his first skill. That's going to be really great, and especially if you have really provided him with the counter set, then that can work really great as well. And if you have really equipped him with the Desperation runes, and that would also be really good as well, right over here, because he attacks an enemy 3 times, so there might actually be a very high chance that you can stun them. But if you just equip him with the counter set, which usually benefits a lot of the defense type units right out there, so this will just stack it up. All right, I mean like I think it can really stack up, and this can really provide a huge amount of counter. All right, 45% plus 20%, or let's say 30%, that is going to be about like 75% to counter. Just try it out. I think it's going to really work out really nice. The next one is a little skill. All allied heroes defense plus 33%, which is pretty good. Defense for himself will also provide him higher damage output, will also increase his survivability at the same point. Defense is just really that awesome. All right, especially if you are making a long runs and you really want to have extra defense, so that like you have increased endurance for an entire team. This is going to be really good, and he actually provides this defense boost for all allied heroes in all regions, so he doesn't actually sort of like make any selection. Okay, maybe like only lawful heroes, only chaotic heroes, like stuff like that, only in arena, only in guild. So it's pretty good little skill. So looking into this as a doing an overview, it's pretty much an amazing character, especially with this dragon breath. He can really do a lot of things, especially equipped with this like the Desperation runes. He might have even the upper hand in the arena contents. What do you guys think about it? Please let me know in the comment section below if you really do disagree with me, and if you have your own counter ideas or insights, please let me know as well. I would really love to know it as well. All right, so that's the thing being said. Now let's move into what sort of runes he is actually going to benefit with, which I think you already know. So for him, guys, the first rune that I'm gonna recommend to you guys is obviously gonna be the defense, especially for the beginners. Uh, this is gonna be quite easy to attain as well. Provides a total up to 45% of defense boost to him, obviously giving him extra endurance, and also at the same time a lot of damage output as well. Right, and now next thing is gonna be the Agile rune. Now this is pretty much for the arena content, where you are really trying to focus on his second skill. That is going to be, I think, the Dragon Breath, right, or something like that. And he is actually going to stun or at least taunt the opponents in AoE scale. So that is really great. You would really want to be the first one to make your move in the arena content as soon as the arena battle starts. So that's really great. Providing like 25% of speed increase to him can really give him or provide him a chance to make the first move in the battle, which can be very, very helpful and awesome in the entire game run. So that being said, 6 pieces will also provide him the chance to gain the another turn really fast. All right. Next thing is gonna be the Desperation rune. Obviously, with the second skill, he has a multi-hit skill that is going to be like 5 hit on the AoE scale. That is really awesome. That is something that really doesn't belong to any other sort of like unit. So try to take advantage of it. You can really equip the Desperation runes on him, and I believe that there is going to be a higher chance for you to stun with him being using that skill. All right, so it's really great. Not only that, he will stun the opponents with the 6 pieces, he is actually going to reduce the target's energy by up to 50%. This is so OP. I mean, like the Desperation runes right over here, if you really can manage to utilize it, it is too OP in this game. This is just amazing. Stun rate plus 25%, that's the first thing, which is already too great. And being able to reduce the target's energy by 50% at AoE scale, that is even freaking amazing. It is sort of like assist type of units, or like any kind of like assist type of skill that kind of focus like all the mobs, or let's all the opponents at a time, and it can hit like multi-hits. Desperation runes is a must, okay? It just really can cripple your opponents really badly. Obviously, this might not be really that effective against the bosses, but in the arena content, oh my god, this is just really that insane. The next one, obviously the last one, is going to be the counter set. All right, the counter set is going to be really good, especially with his fast skill being able to nullify, or let's say like dispel a buff from the opponent, which is really great, especially if you are fighting a battle against the dungeon bosses. You would really want to have it. All right, because if you just can keep the opponent, or let's say the bosses at check, making all stripping off their buffs every time, that's really gonna help your team to survive for a longer time. It will just improve the endurance of your team. All right, so that is gonna be really great. His counter is really too good as well, and obviously with his version 3 of the third skill also has a initial built up of like 30% of counter. That means like a total of 45% counter. That is like, I think it can go up to like 75% of counter rate, which is pretty amazing. All right, this is too good. So I think the counter set is going to be really good for him as well. Now that said and done, what do we look for as the main or primary stat on the second, fourth, and the sixth slot? All right, for the second slot, guys, you really need to go with the defense percentage boost or speed. If you really want to go for like arena contents, then just really go with the speed. You really need a lot of speed right out there, guys. If you really want to make the first move and try to just incapacitate, or let's say cripple the opponents right off the bat. So in the second slot, try to go with the speed stat as the primary stat if you are really trying to focus him for the arena. But if you are really trying to focus him for like PvE, normal PvE contents, even going with the defense percentage boost as the primary stat is gonna do work really fine, because the counter set is actually gonna work passive as well, so you really don't need to worry about that one. Whereas for the fourth slot, please try to go with the defense percentage boost. No questions asked. I think that's going to be the best thing that you can do it. If you really want to increase his damage output, then you can actually go with the critical rate or critical damage boost as well. But I think defense percentage boost is going to really help him a lot. He really wants to really work as a tank rather than being a massive damage dealer. His damage is not really that great, so defense percentage boost is actually going to be the best in my opinion. The next one is going to be the sixth slot. In the sixth slot, guys, really try to go with the hit percentage boost, all right, or defense percentage boost. But for me, hit percentage boost actually does make a lot of sense because there are so many negative status effects like taunts and stun and so many things right out there that he really need to inflict on the opponent. And in order to do that, he really needs a lot of hit percentage chance, and also to remove the buff from the opponent, to dispel the buff from the opponent with his fast skill. He also need a really good amount of like hit percentage chance, or let's say the accuracy as well. So accuracy is very very essential for his 6th slot. So in my best opinion, okay, in the 2nd slot, try to go with the speed boost as the primary stat, especially if you are going with the Desperation or the Agile runes, and the defense percentage boost in the 2nd slot if you are going with the counter set. All right, and the next one is going to be the 4th slot again. Please try to go with the defense percentage boost. It's going to be the best. And the 6th slot, try to go with the hit percentage boost, or let's say accuracy, all right, in other terms. So that's how it should actually be built, in my opinion, to have the best result out of him. All right, it's going to be so good for the arena content and even for the PvE contents like catacombs and dungeons and stuff like that. The only problem is that like you have to keep on changing the runes here and there, but in this game removal of runes is pretty free every time, so I really don't think that it's actually going to be a problem. So he's pretty much versatile. You want to use here or there, no problem at all. He can actually accommodate everywhere, and he provided his team leader skill as well. He's too good. So that's said and done. I would like to wrap up this video. Thanks for watching my video, guys. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to keep on enjoying the contents of my channel, and see you guys in the next video.